Hello, Frugal Force. This is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, and today I want to talk about something a little bit different. I'm going to go back in time, if you will, to a burning subject of Firestorm, the nuclear man, or should I say men. You know, why did this series fail? Where did it go wrong, and what could have fixed it? Now, before I get too in depth on this, just to let you know this isn't anything as a slight against Ethan Van Sciver. Okay, we're just going to address the issues with this series, and I'm largely thinking based on the information I've seen from Ethan and the videos that he's put out and things, is that these things were not on his side. These faults were not his own, if you will. These came from the other writer, Gail Simone. So, and don't get me wrong either. Gail has written some good stuff. It's just, I think she's written more bad stuff at this point than good stuff by far. When I say good stuff, she's probably sea-level stuff. Nothing that I've ever read that said, wow, this is remarkable. But, she has written some trash tier. Also, before I get any farther, too, if you enjoy these videos, please be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And even if you are subscribed, just double check, because YouTube Purge has absolutely pewed and purged a ton of my subscribers in the last few days. Thanks a lot, YouTube. You suck. Anyway, also you can help by the links below to support the channel. But one of the best ways is just join in the conversation in the comments section and let me know your thoughts. So anyway, diving into this issue, the very first issue is where the problems start. Right at issue number 1. I know you can count the zero issue, but zero issue was actually written, beforehand, later on. So let's start with number 1, and that's going to be the focus. So number 1 issue has to set up a good story, has to set up something compelling to really make you want to read number 2. And there's a couple ways that things are absolutely necessary. One, it needs strong art, and the book has good art. The artwork is very good in it. Definitely passable. Cover art's good, so it's attention getting there, and it does a good job of showing what's going on. So art is fine, but where it derails is in the writing. You don't really get a good villain. You don't get a great setup in this story. And one of the bigger parts, too, on top of that, is you have to have a likable protagonist. And here we have Jason and we have Ronnie. Neither one are likable in the way they're written in the New 52 Firestorm. And I think that's part of the problem. It's hard to like either character, so it doesn't really get you that interested. You've got Jason, which is a smart academic male, and he happens to be black, and I'm mentioning this for a certain reason. And we have Ronnie, which happens to be white. So we have the black and white, and Ronnie is the jock, the sports guy. So they did go and make sure they didn't follow the black guy's a jock, the white guy's smart nerd, white nerdy. No, they didn't go that route. I give them credit. They twisted that, manipulated it some, and that's great. But I think this was the Gail Simone part here that really threw it off from what I've heard and listened to, and I happen to agree. Gail put it in your face so hard, it was unbelievable. Like when the kids were talking to their parents about the situation of how Jason and Ronnie weren't getting along, it's just too in your face. So much so, too, at how they interacted with each other. And I realize that's part of the story, is how they don't get along. And that's fine. But usually when they don't get along, you have to have elements that you like about each character. And they really didn't explore that. Each one really came off as a douche in this story. So there lies the big problems right there. You don't have a really great setup for the story, a great reason to continue reading, if you will, and the characters are just not written in a way to really make you want to absorb them and continue reading more. Now, through the series, you do start to get more from each character, and you can see that, but unfortunately, I think Gail did so much damage in the early part of the series, even when she was gone, and Ethan had somebody else with him. It was too little too late at that point. And it makes sense. It's hard to get a reader to come back in. When you pick up that first issue or first few issues, and it's just smacking you in the face with politicized things that just beat you up a little bit. It's too over the top, too hitting your head, and the story just isn't compelling enough. You're going to drop it. It's going to take a lot to really make you pick that book back up again. It has to have a really significant event to bring you that trust. And I just think the title never regained that trust. So, as hard as Ethan tried, he just wasn't able to get it. As I said, the artwork was solid. Later on in the run, Ethan drew some issues as well. He did the covers a lot, but he wasn't the main writer. The main artist, and that was fine. The art was very good, so there was no problem there. So as I said, I don't blame Ethan from what I've seen in this. As he's said a lot, there was a lot of problems in the writing, a lot of friction, a lot of fighting. So you got to put a lot of this on Gail, trying to make this a political piece rather than a story that might have had some elements of PC that we could have in there that would have made it okay. We don't mind once in a while saying, hey, you know what? How's the other side see things? Maybe we would have had a different view from this character's eyes, and that's one of the sad things. We really had a great opportunity with this book to see the same situations to two different perspectives, but we never really got that. The book failed to capitalize on that, probably because Gail was too busy pushing a particular political PC narrative rather than letting it evolve naturally. You could have had these characters dislike each other, but as they start to understand each other more, they start to appreciate each other more. But once again, many issues in, through the whole first story arc, you never got any of that. Not a single hint. And usually that's about as far as a reader's going to get. It's the first story arc. And if they don't pick up on the next story arc, you lost them. And so they lost a lot of people at the first issue, which is common, right? But then it continued to go downhill from there. The story arc wasn't really that grabbing. Unfortunately, I think the in-your-face writing lost too many, and Ethan and company weren't able to rescue it and get them back, which is a shame because this is an interesting dynamic, an interesting character that so much can be done. As I said, you could explore the dynamics of different perspectives and different perceptions, but yet still come to heroic and moralistic endings and ideals just from different points of view. So this was a great opportunity that was lost, possibly due to an overpush of Gail Simone there, would be my guess, largely. But that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on the series? Did you read the whole Firestorm series here? Or did you just read maybe the first issue, never checked it out at all? Would you be willing to give it a shot? What would it take to get you to read that series? That's just curious. As you know, I like to chat and have fun with subjects like this. Well, thank you for taking the time to listen to me ramble today. And once again, I didn't mean any of those people harm, so there was no cruel intent there. Please don't take it that way. I hope I didn't deliver that way. If so, let me know, and I'll address that issue if necessary. Thank you very much. Until next time, keep it frugal.